Hey, welcome to Strength Side. Today we're going to talk about how to fix wing scapula. I'm going to give you 3 exercises that you can do, not 6, 3. And before we get into the exercises, let's go ahead and talk about what's going on with your wing scapula. Now, the shoulder blades are meant to sit flush to your rib cage, and when you move, they move on the rib cage. Now, when you get a wing scapula, your shoulder blades stop moving kind of flush to that rib cage and they come off the rib cage, right? And usually, let's see if I can do it, maybe something like this a little bit, where your shoulder blade is kind of popping off your rib cage and you can almost just go in there and grab it. This is not good. We don't want this because this is usually associated with shoulder pain or just really shoulder movement dysfunction. You can't really move your shoulders in different planes of motion very efficiently. So usually the biggest culprit here, the muscle that we need to turn on and get working correctly, is the serratus anterior muscle. That is just kind of goes underneath your armpit here and attaches on your ribs. And this muscle is, one of its prime jobs is to protract the shoulder blade, which means I'm going to move the shoulder this way and my shoulder blade comes to the side of my body. Okay, and that's usually when you're going to see that winging sensation in the shoulder blade, is when you try to come here, that shoulder blade doesn't move properly on the rib cage to the side. Okay, so we have to fix that. And another thing that is usually accompanied with weak serratus anterior is you have to understand that serratus anterior is on the front of your core. Okay, so when we kind of get this anterior pelvic tilt extension going on, that's when this muscle kind of relaxes and isn't turned on, and now that affects my shoulder blade movement. So anterior pelvic tilt can actually contribute or cause wing scapula. So if we can turn this muscle on, get this muscle stronger, be able to control it better, then that's going to allow you to fix your wing scapula and just have better overall shoulder blade mechanics and just shoulder movement and control. So let's get to those 3 exercises. So the first exercise we're going to do is a wall slide. So to do a wall slide, you're going to need to get yourself a wall. I know that's kind of weird. And what we're going to do is we are going to start in this position right here. We're going to get the elbows up to around 90 degrees. It can even actually be a little bit higher than that. And the way I like to teach these is actually the way that Eric Cressy teaches these. If you don't know Eric Cressy, look up his stuff online. And that is, we want to start in a position where we are actually pushing our mid-back backwards. Okay, so my mid-back goes backwards. This causes me to get a little bit more flexion in my upper back, and it causes my shoulder blades to protract, right? And it's the serratus anterior muscle that protracts the shoulder blades. So from here, what we're going to do is, just like the exercise sounds, we're going to slide our arms up the wall. Boom, just like this. As you can see, we're not getting a whole lot of range of motion here, but we're making sure that the upper back stays back, and then we're going to slide down, okay? So I'm going to make sure that my shoulder blades are pushed apart, my upper back is pushed backwards, and I slide upwards, putting a little bit of tension into the wall, and I slide back, okay? Small movements, boom, and we're just trying to get good shoulder blade control here. Now, what you're going to want to have the tendency to do is to get up here and then to kind of dump down into that wing scapula position with my shoulder blades kind of retracted and not very congruent to my rib cage. So if you find yourself doing that, we simply just adjust, we push away, and we move up. Now, if the elbows come slightly off the wall, I'm usually okay with that, as long as we are trying to keep them as close and flush to the wall as we can. The next exercise is a scapular push-up. So we're going to start with a quadruped scapular push-up, which is going to be a little bit easier. So we're going to get into quadruped position, knees under the hips, hands under the shoulders. And from here, the exercise is quite simple. We're going to start with our shoulder blades retracted. So we're going to kind of pinch those together, which should be comfortable for you. And then what we're going to do is we're going to push the ground away, and we're going to protract the shoulder blades. So now my shoulder blades come to the side. As you can see, my upper back is full. There's no gap there anymore. And we're just going to move in and out of this range of motion. Now you want to try to keep your core and your spine pretty neutral here. I don't want to see like a cat-cow start going on. We're trying to stay neutral and just move at the shoulder blades independently of the spine. Okay, so just kind of keep your head in a neutral position, keep your chin tucked, and really overemphasize pushing the ground away and kind of squeezing this part of your body here, right, which is going to be your serratus anterior, to get yourself into this protracted position. Okay, so next step from there would be to do it in a regular plank position. So we get here. We're going to start with the shoulder blades retracted. We're going to keep tension in the stomach, and we're going to push the ground away. Okay, here, push away, retract, protract. Really put a big emphasis on making sure that there is no gap in the middle of your back. It's full. I'm pushed away. My abs are turned on. I'm in a really good plank position here. Okay, so that leads us into the third and final exercise, which we're going to do a plank to hollow hold position. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to get back into our plank position here. I want you to overemphasize that top of the scapular push-up where we are pushing the ground away. And this is really just going to turn on the whole front part of my core, which we talked about that serratus anterior is involved with, okay? So spending a lot of time in a plank is very important for gaining better shoulder blade positioning through having a stronger serratus anterior. So I'm in this plank position. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tuck my head like this, and I'm just going to push my hips up, and I'm going to really fire my abs here, okay? So now I'm in more of a hollow hold position, and I'm going to come back to my plank. I'm going to keep pushing the ground away, and I'm just going to come back, moving that head back, moving the hips up, hollow hold position, and back to my plank, okay? Tuck the head, hips up, my core is really firing. The whole front part of my stomach is really turned on right now. And I don't mean in a sexual way. So I push the ground away, tip the head, hollow hold, back to plank. All right. So those are 3 exercises you can do to hopefully take steps in correcting your wing scapula and having just better shoulder movement all around. Make sure to check out our free strength and mobility program at movestrongnow.com. We actually have some of these exercises in that program that'll just make you a better mover, stronger, and it'll enhance your mobility as well. Okay guys, that's the video for today. Make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.